we're going to look at some examples of content objectives and language objectives. The content objective, of course I chose science because I love science and everything about it. I chose hurricanes. It's an applicable, possibly, depending on where you live in North Carolina, it's an applicable concept. So the content objective, this is real from North Carolina standards, is students have to understand the impacts of hurricanes on environmental and life in general, on the environment, sorry, and life in general. So now talk to me about understand. How exactly do I measure understand? That's a very broad term. How do you measure understand? What? I didn't hear it either. Who said? Yes.
Well, what I was saying was if you have a student tell you what they think you're asking, well, so what do I mean when I say understand the impacts on the environment and have them take the word environment, what's environment to you?
Okay. Okay. So understand, I agree. Understand is about this broad. And there are a lot of different components that make up an understanding. Yes. That's awesome.
So, and they remind her because they get excited about it, and then when if she steps away or something, they'll be like,
we have to do our objective.
Yeah, they're like, you didn't do our learning goal, and I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you, because they help,
they want it.
To get the words on there, and it's there.
They want it and they need it. Absolutely.
And then that's your job to include the language components of what you want.
Absolutely.
Part of it. So she does a great job with that.
That's cool. We're going to come film you. So think about this broad concept. And for all of us who teach ESL, we know that this lesson about the impacts of hurricanes on the environment and life in general, that's like a whole unit. It could take 5 or 6 or 8 days to talk about all of the details that go into that concept. But the kids need something on a daily basis that changes. So I want you to think about the content objective and connect it to that element that was green, the content stem. So when the kids come in the classroom on Monday, I'm going to say to them, okay guys, welcome back. Today we're going to write a paragraph. And when we write that paragraph, which is a house, discourse level, okay, we're going to use at least 5 sentences. And there's my picture of sentences. You can't really see it, but like the wall, the bricks that come together to make the wall. And when we write this paragraph, we're going to focus on summarizing. We are going to summarize the impacts of hurricanes, that should say on life in general. And when we write this paragraph, we have some stuff to help us. We're going to use some sentence starters. We're going to use a graphic organizer. We're going to use some pictures, and we have a word bank. We have a lot of help. I don't want you to feel like this paragraph is going to be overwhelming. We're going to do it. And you know what? We're going to also work together. Now, when you think about this language objective, what's an adjective that you would use to describe that? Complicated. What else? Detailed. What else? Straightforward. Good, tier 2. Anything else? Yes. Comprehensive. I heard specific. It's very specific. Now I have to go through this with the class. I can't just post it and say, hey, there's our objective, read it and figure it out. I have to say it exactly the way that I said it to you so that I can help chunk it with the kids. Because rather than say we're just going to talk about hurricanes and their, impacts on the environment or life, that's like, well, what does that mean? Yes.
I was thinking of the green part, whatever color that's called.
Purple.
At that point, at that general period, I can imagine a kid being like, we're not going to be able to do this. But then you read the next sentence, and it's like,
We get some help.
yeah.
Exactly. Okay, I totally owe him like $25 for saying that. I didn't arrange that. Right? Because the kids, if you don't tell them what help is available, they feel like, oh, paragraph, I can't do a paragraph, I'm scared of a paragraph, right? So you tell them, you're not going to swim in the deep end by yourself with no goggles and no partner. We're going to do it together. So then Tuesday comes. Oh gosh. Same content objective. Now we're going to go even more into detail today, guys. We have some really important words to learn. Bricks. And those words include hurricanes, eyes of the storm, coastal community, and tropical. And we're going to write at least 2 complex sentences using those words. And yesterday our function was summarized. Today we're going to elaborate. We're going to expand when we think about the impacts of hurricanes on the environment. And just like yesterday, we're going to have some help. We're going to use pictures. We're going to work in groups because 1 brain is great, 2 brains are fabulous. A lot of brains are like amazing. We're going to work together, and we're going to use some sentence starters to help us. The sentence starters might even be set up to help with complex sentence structure, which somebody over here earlier mentioned. Sentence structure could be challenging. Same content stem. Oh my gosh, same content stem on Wednesday. Somebody said figurative language was an issue. So sometimes descriptive language can be an issue. And today we're going to use some descriptive language. And because you guys did so great with your paragraph on Monday, today we're going to write 2 paragraphs. We're going to build 2 houses. And we're going to describe the impacts of hurricanes on the environment. We're going to use our work from Monday and Tuesday to get us to this, by the way. We get to use it all. We can work in table teams. We can have drawings or an illustration. We have paragraph posters. That's like an anchor chart. And we can use our science journals where we kept all of our stuff from Monday and Tuesday. So do you see how this progresses? Do you see how it stays the same but it changes to expand the kinds of language that the kids are using? You haven't thrown out your content stem. So basically, I told Luis, little by little, how he gets to race that school bus. Because all 3 of these lessons are around the same content stem, the same unit topic. But I didn't just send them out onto the racetrack and say, go for it. Okay, guys, we're going to understand hurricanes. That's a lot. And what does that mean? Okay. Lastly, we're going to, again, talk about evidences a lot tomorrow with the assessment piece. We need to help students understand how they themselves would begin to measure their own work, their own learning. And when they focus on these things, okay, Monday I had to write a paragraph and I had to do 5 sentences. That's specific. I can measure that. Tuesday I had to use these words. I probably said them and I wrote them. So we've got these domains of language going on. We had writing, use implying produce. Same thing on the next day, we had using these descriptive language things, and we wrote 2 paragraphs, and I described something. So it helps the students tune their brains into mastering that specific skill on that day. And then what kind of language are you going to be looking for with those paragraphs? And how will you set this up with your partner in the classroom? Because the cool thing is when you're co-teaching, oh my gosh, you have double the bang for your buck, right? You have 2 master teachers who can help measure this. And I'm here to tell you, the content teacher doesn't always have to be the one who analyzes the content knowledge about hurricanes. Maybe you really like that as an ESL teacher. So you're going to help analyze, okay, so what did the kids tell me about hurricanes? And then what was the language stuff that went with that? Because you got to measure both.